Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take your sources, really dig into the research, and try to pull out the most, well, fascinating insights.
That's the place.
And today we're embarking on, I think, an extraordinary journey. It's a deep dive into what scientists call the Cambrian awakening. This was a pivotal moment 541 million years ago when Earth's story just dramatically accelerated. It really changed the trajectory of life forever.
Absolutely. A turning point.
So we'll be exploring material from Voices from Ancient Seas, a journey through the Cambrian awakening, and also digging into some of your notes and research you sent over.
Right.
The idea is to truly grasp how our planet transformed from, a quiet, mostly microbial world to one just teeming with complex animals.
It's a huge leap.
Yeah, our mission here is basically to give you a shortcut to understanding one of life's most foundational chapters.
Let's do it.
Okay, so to set the scene, let's try and travel back in time, maybe 600 million years ago. Imagine an Earth that would be completely unrecognizable. I mean, no rustling leaves, no insect sounds, definitely no fish dumping.
A very alien world.
Totally. The continents themselves were scattered like puzzle pieces not yet fitted together, what we now call North America. It was sitting near the equator.
Yeah, and the supercontinent Gondwana stretched way across the southern latitudes. A very different map.
Vastly different.
And beneath those, quiet, almost empty-looking waves, life had already been writing its story for over 3 billion years.
3 billion?
Yeah, but it was a story dominated by microscopic players. Bacteria, archaea. They often built these layered mounds called stromatolites.
Right, I've seen pictures of those.
But the late Proterozoic eon, that's the huge stretch of time before the Cambrian, did see the first big leaps towards complexity.
Okay, like what?
Well, around 1.8 billion years ago, cells learned to keep their genetic material safe inside a nucleus. That's when eukaryotes appeared. They're basically the building blocks for all complex life.
The foundation.
Exactly. And then later, maybe a billion years ago, these cells started cooperating, working together, forming the first multicellular organisms.
Wow. Okay, so things were happening just slowly.
Very slowly. And by about 600 million years ago, the seas hosted this really fascinating group of organisms called the Ediacaran biota.
Ediacaran. Tell me about them.
They were strange, shaped like quilted pancakes, fronds, discs, things like Dickinsonia and Charnia.
Quilted pancakes.
Yeah, it's the best description. And what's striking is how they lived. No shells for protection, no real eyes to see with, no obvious way to actively hunt or run away.
So passive.
Very. Filter feeders, maybe grazers on microbial mats, or just absorbing nutrients from the water. It was a world of, well, biological patience. Evolution was quiet, slow.
Okay, so we have this ancient Earth, drifting continents, calm oceans, these patient, sort of passive Ediacaran creatures. But then almost like a cosmic alarm clock went off right around 541 million years ago. That quiet patience just vanished. Explosion of activity. What exactly initiated this great stirring? How did we get from that passive world to the dynamic Cambrian?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And what's so fascinating here is that it wasn't just one single thing, not an overnight event.
Yeah.
It was more like a gradual stirring, maybe over, say, 25 million years.
25 million years. Sounds long to us.
It does, but geologically, that's a blink of an eye, really. And during this time, animals started experimenting with totally new ways of living. Changed everything.
A geological blink. I like that. And these first hints, these initial tremors of change, they showed up in trace fossils.
Exactly. Trace fossils, the marks left behind by organisms. Right. Instead of just simple meandering trails from earlier life.
Right.
Paleontologists started finding incredibly complex burrows. Vertical tubes, intricate horizontal galleries, networks branching out.
Wow, that's huge difference.
It was a revolution, truly. Animals were actively engineering their own environments, deliberately breaking through those microbial mats that had, dominated seafloors for billions of years.
Engineering their environment.
Absolutely. And this biological stirring, or bioturbation as scientists call it, fundamentally altered ocean chemistry in really profound ways.
How so?
Well, imagine them churning up the seabed. Suddenly, oxygen could get deeper into the sediments. Trapped nutrients got released, recycled back into the water.
Okay, so it unlocked resources.
Precisely. That flat, two-dimensional world of microbial mats gave way to a complex, layered, three-dimensional ecosystem. new hiding places, new food opportunities, a whole new competitive landscape.
And they were moving differently, too.
Yeah, these pioneers were also starting to experiment with more directed movement, more sophisticated muscle.
Okay, that's incredible. Ecosystem engineering on a massive scale, basically.
You got it.
And here's where it gets really interesting for me. The hard parts. Animals started developing shells, carapaces, even internal skeletons.
Critically important, yes.
These weren't just for defense, right? They helped with movement, too.
Exactly. Provided crucial anchor points for muscles,
Yeah.
enabling more powerful, controlled movement. And the very first of these, what we call the small shelly fauna,
Small shelly fauna, okay.
they appeared around 540 million years ago. Tiny things, cone-shaped shells, spiny tubes, little plate-like structures.
So these initial experiments in biomineralization, making minerals.
Yeah, that process was truly revolutionary. Animals were basically learning how to pull minerals like calcium carbonate, calcium phosphate, right out of the seawater to build these structures.
But the environment helped.
Oh, definitely. This wasn't happening in a vacuum. At the same time, Earth's ocean chemistry was changing. Oxygen levels were rising, ocean circulation patterns shifted.
Bringing nutrients around.
Exactly, bringing vital nutrients to new areas. It created, you could say, the perfect storm for this burst of innovation.
Okay, so the conditions are right. Life's getting physically tougher with shells and things. What happened next? More competition.
Well, yeah, ecological pressures built up fast. With all these new tools, shells, better muscles, competition for space, for food, it just intensified dramatically.
And predators?
Critically, yes. The first true predators emerged.
Yeah.
And that kicked off what we can only really describe as an arms race.
An arms race. Like,
Think about it. You develop a shell for protection.
so someone else develops stronger claws or jaws to break it.
Exactly. Or you dig deeper burrows to hide.
So predators get better at finding you or digging you out?
Precisely.
Right.
Longer appendages for reaching or fleeing. Every new adaptation spurred counter-adaptations. It was this relentless feedback loop of innovation, speeding up evolution like never before.
Wow. So basically, they invented ancient biological warfare. Shells, claws, deep bunkers. It's like an evolutionary Cold War down there.
That's a perfect analogy. And by about 530 million years ago, this great stirring had completely transformed entire ecosystems.
Gone was the quiet world.
Completely gone, replaced by this dynamic living theater. Survival now depended on speed, strength, perception, strategy. The stage was just spectacularly set for life's greatest experiment in diversity.
That really makes me wonder if we could somehow, float in a Cambrian sea maybe 525 million years ago. What would we actually see down there on that bustling seafloor?
Oh, okay. Well, among the most prominent performers in this theater of innovation, you definitely see arthropods.
Sure.
Especially trilobites.
Trilobites. Everyone knows trilobites.
They're iconic, right? Their name means three lobes, which perfectly describes their bodies. They're exoskeletons made of calcite, basically limestone.
Tough stuff.
Oh yeah, marvels of engineering, divided into a distinct head shield, a flexible middle section, the thorax, and a tail plate, the progidium.
So segmented, flexible.
Exactly. That division allowed for incredible flexibility and protection. It was an early blueprint for these highly specialized body plans that would, come to dominate ecosystems.
And their eyes. I remember reading something about their eyes being special.
Perhaps the most remarkable feature for many of them, yeah. Trilobites developed compound eyes, like insects today, but made of calcite lenses, capable of detecting movement.
Mineral eyes. How?
It required extraordinary biochemical control over crystal growth. They could precisely shape these mineral lenses. It's incredible.
Wow.
And different species evolved specialized eyes for their lifestyles. You had tiny plankton feeders like Agnostis pisciformis, huge ones like Paradoxides davidus, 35 centimeters.
That's big for a trilobite.
Huge. And things like Phacops rana had enormous, really complex eyes. We even find blind species, which suggests they adapted to deep water where light just didn't reach.
A whole range of visual adaptations.
And it wasn't just trilobites. This is what's truly striking. Anomalocaris canadensis,
The big predator, right? The weird shrimp thing.
the apex predator of the Cambrian seas, yeah. It had compound eyes with over 16,000 lenses each.
16,000.
16,000. That gave it visual acuity comparable to a modern dragonfly.
That's mind-blowing for that long ago.
It is. And the evolution of vision like that triggered that sensory arms race we talked about. Predators and prey needed to see better, hide better, move more strategically. This explosion in senses drove an explosion in behavior.
16,000 lenses. I can't get over that. What must the world have looked like to them? Must have changed everything. Hunting, hiding,
Every aspect of survival? Absolutely. And meanwhile, other groups were innovating rapidly too.
Like who else?
Early mollusks, things like Luticella and Eldonella, they were experimenting with simple cone-shaped shells. And we see the earliest evidence of spiral coiling in shells, a design that would become incredibly successful later on.
Right, snails and things. But how do we even know all this detail? Especially the soft, squishy bits.
Yeah, that's crucial, isn't it? Because most soft-bodied Cambrian animals, they left no fossils at all. We rely on extremely rare sites, these Lagerstätten, German for storage places. They're extraordinary fossil beds, like the Burgess Shale in British Columbia
Ah, I've heard of that one.
and the Qingcheng biota in China. These are precious windows because unique conditions there preserve not just bones or shells, but even the soft tissues. Gives us rare insights into their complete forms.
So we get the whole picture.
As much as we can. These amazing sites give us vivid glimpses into ancient ecological dramas. We see creatures like Morella splendens, they called it the lace crab, it's so delicate.
No.
And Sydnea inexpectans, a really formidable predatory arthropod. We found fossils with its stomach contents preserved, showing it preyed on trilobites. Direct evidence.
Fossilized dinner. That's incredible.
Isn't it? And for the very first time, these clear predator-prey relationships created what we call trophic levels.
Ah, the food chain.
Exactly, the different layers, from photosynthetic producers at the bottom, all the way up to apex predators like Ligania cambria, another relative of Anomalocaris, which could grow to nearly 2 meters long.
2 meters. Huge.
Massive.
Yeah.
And most major animal groups, the phyla, they all appeared within this astonishingly short window, maybe 20, 25 million years.
That rapid diversification is just staggering. And
Yeah.
the food webs connecting everything, that's a truly transformative development.
Absolutely.
But speaking of foundations, where do we fit in? As humans, vertebrates. What about our own lineage in this Cambrian story?
You're touching on something really fundamental there. The Cambrian also saw the first appearance of chordates,
Chordates, that's us, basically. Or our ancestors.
animals with a flexible rod running down their back called a notochord.
Yes.
Yes, our deep ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
There's a creature called Pikaia gracilens from the Burgess Shale.
Okay.
A small thing, looked a bit like a worm, only about 5 centimeters long. Seemed pretty unremarkable.
Doesn't sound very impressive.
Not visually, maybe.
Yeah.
That simple notochord. That was the evolutionary foundation for all vertebrate skeletons, including our own spine.
Wow. So that little worm thing, that's our distant, great-great-great-grand relative, yeah.
It's incredible to think our whole lineage stems from something so small and unassuming back then.
Definitely. Okay, so we've got the shells, the amazing eyes, even our own ancestors showing up. But beyond those flashy things, who were the real architects of ecosystem change back then? The ones really shaking things up?
Often, it's the less glamorous but profoundly impactful players.
Like who?
The animals that learned active burrowing.
Ah, the bioturbators again.
Exactly. Remember, before the Cambrian, seafloors were mostly covered by these flat, pervasive microbial mats.
Right, the pancake world.
The first burrowers, like whatever made the trace fossil Triptichnus pedum, that branching burrow, is so significant it actually marks the official international start of the Cambrian period.
No kidding. That specific trace fossil?
That specific trace. These burrowers literally broke apart the mats, mixed sediments, created new three-dimensional habitats. Other common traces are Scolithos, simple vertical tubes, and Rusophagus, which we recognize as places where trilobites rested or hid.
So even resting left a mark. And there were burrowing predators, too.
Oh, yes. Like Otoya prolifica, a preyapulid worm, also from the Burgess Shale. It lived in vertical burrows and would shoot at its proboscis to grab prey. Painted a whole new picture of life within the seafloor, not just on it.
A hidden world opening up.
And this bioturbation, as we said, it fundamentally altered seafloor chemistry. Oxygen penetrated deeper, nutrients got redistributed. Geochemical studies of Cambrian rocks give us actual numbers, quantitative evidence, showing this huge shift around 540 million years ago. Life was literally changing the planet's chemistry.
Wow. And were there other kinds of architects building things?
There were. Creatures like Claudina, they built tube-like shells and sometimes clumped together, forming small reef-like structures. The first little builders.
But not big reefs yet.
Not from them, but more significantly, there were the archaeocyathids.
What?
Archaeocyathids, an extinct group, maybe related to sponges, maybe their own thing. They built the first major reefs in Earth's history.
The very first reefs.
Yep. Huge structures extending for kilometers sometimes. They supported incredibly diverse communities, creating vital new habitats.
Amazing. Did they last?
Sadly, no. They didn't survive beyond the Middle Cambrian. But they showed what was possible. They set the precedent for reef building.
Okay, so this explosion, the burrowing, the reefs, was it happening everywhere or just in certain spots?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it was truly a global phenomenon. Now, Earth's geography was radically different back then.
Right, we mentioned the map was weird.
Very weird. Laurentia, that's ancient North America, was on the equator. Baltica, Scandinavia, and Eastern Europe was in the subtropics. Siberia was in tropical latitudes, had extensive reefs, actually. And Gondwana, the giant southern continent, stretched across the southern hemisphere.
A totally different arrangement.
Totally.
And the climate, was it helpful for all this innovation?
Generally, yes. It was mostly warm, pretty stable. No polar ice caps back then. Atmospheric CO2 was much higher than today.
Okay, warm and stable.
And crucially, sea levels were high. They flooded the edges of the continents, creating these vast, shallow seas.
Perfect nurseries.
Exactly. The nurseries of Cambrian diversity. Plus, you had ongoing volcanism, erosion washing minerals into the sea, and importantly, abundant phosphorus, a key nutrient. All this further fueled the explosion of life, provided the raw materials for evolution.
So the whole planet was kind of primed for it.
It seems that way. And we can even look deeper into the ocean's memory preserved in deep water sediments.
What do they tell us?
Well, isotope geochemistry, analyzing variations in the elements like carbon, strontium, sulfur, gives incredible insights into the ancient climate, how productive the oceans were, oxygen levels.
Chemical clues?
Deep-sea fossils are sparser, but we find things like ignostid trilobites, early graptolites. They help correlate rocks globally. And then there are molecular fossils, lipids, cholesterol residues left by organisms that didn't leave body fossils at all. Helps fill in the picture.
Molecular fossils. Wow. And we can't forget the tiny stuff, right? The microbes.
Absolutely not. We can't forget the microscopic architects of this whole transformation. They weren't just background players. They were actively shaping the environment too.
How so?
Well, cyanobacteria, for example, developed specialized cells called heterocysts for nitrogen fixation, basically pulling nitrogen gas out of the water and turning it into fertilizer for the whole ecosystem.
Providing essential nutrients.
Exactly. And sulfur-oxidizing bacteria became really important, forming the base of food webs in these newly churned up bioturbated sediments.
So new food sources appeared.
That's right. And protists, like foraminifera, started building intricate calcium carbonate shells, while radiolarians made these amazing silica skeletons. Dinoflagellates introduced new kinds of primary productivity.
So much innovation at the microscopic level, too.
Absolutely. The Cambrian also saw the emergence of complex microbial communities, different types working together, and maybe even the diversification of viruses playing new ecological roles. All these microscopic innovations supported the increasing complexity needed for larger life to take off.
Okay, so after this incredible journey through ancient seas, what does it all mean for us, sitting here today? How does this ancient chapter still shake life now?
Oh, profoundly. Our own bodies carry the legacy of the Cambrian everywhere.
Like how?
Well, bilateral symmetry having left and right side, that's a fundamental body plan established then. Our segmented spines, directly traceable to Pikaya's notochord.
Our backbone's ancestor.
Pretty much. The complex eyes we have, even the basic genetic toolkit, the HOX genes that controls how animal bodies develop, all have their roots way back then.
The blueprints were drawn then.
Exactly. The calcium carbonate skeletons of Cambrian animals. They set the stage for all later shell-bearing creatures. And those ecological relationships, predator-prey arms races, ecosystem engineering, they still drive evolution today. The rules were written in the Cambrian.
It really is striking how we can piece this together, isn't it? Given the immense amount of time passed, these mysteries of preservation.
They're key. As we mentioned, most soft-bodied things left no trace. So sites like the Burgess Shale and Changjiang are unbelievably precious, these logger states.
Those special fossil beds.
Yeah, they've preserved creatures that seem utterly bizarre to us now, like Opabinia.
Oh yeah, the thing with 5 eyes?
5 eyes on stalks, and a weird nozzle or proboscis at the front.
Oh.
Or Hallucigenia, with its spikes and stilt-like legs. They actually reconstructed it upside down at first because it was so alien.
Upside down, that says something.
It really does. These exceptional sites needed really specific conditions: rapid burial, very low oxygen, fine mud. to preserve that delicate detail.
So we're lucky to have them.
Incredibly lucky. Even so, we've probably discovered, what, maybe fewer than 15% of the species that actually lived back then.
Only 15%. Wow.
And it's also important to remember, those molecular clock studies using DNA mutation rates to estimate divergence times, they suggest many animal groups originated much earlier than their first fossils appear.
So the explosion wasn't quite as sudden as it looks.
It might appear more dramatic in the fossil record, partly because that's when hard parts, exoskeletons became common. Things that fossilize easily, it's what we call a taphonomic bias.
A bias in the record itself.
Exactly. Life didn't necessarily appear suddenly, but it suddenly started leaving much clearer, more durable traces. The Chengjiang fossils, for instance, include Fuxinoia protensa, which might preserve the oldest known animal brain.
The oldest brain. Incredible. That's an important distinction, though, is maybe more about the recording of life accelerating than life itself appearing out of nowhere.
Precisely.
And when we look at all that diversity, all those weird Burgess shale creatures, it feels like we're looking at a garden of forking paths.
That's a great way to put it. Stephen Jay Gould's idea. Evolution isn't some ladder climbing inevitably towards modern life.
Right.
Creatures like Opabenia and Hallucigenia, they were successful in their time. They represent unique experiments, different ways of being an animal that just didn't happen to persist. Many successful designs from back then simply didn't lead to modern descendants.
So much experimentation.
And our own existence becomes profoundly contingent. Think about those early, unremarkable-looking chordates like Pikaia.
Our little ancestor.
Yeah. No obvious signs of its extraordinary future. If they had vanished in some local extinction event.
No vertebrates.
No fish, no amphibians, no reptiles, no birds, no mammals, no humans. The entire vertebrate lineage just wouldn't exist.
Wow. That's sobering.
It forces you to consider how many alternative possibilities there were. Different biochemistries, maybe different genetic codes, entirely different sensory worlds, perhaps, based on magnetic fields or electrical sensing that might have evolved if history had taken a slightly different turn.
Yeah, it really gives you perspective, fills you with, I don't know, both humility and wonder.
I think so too. Humility because our own existence wasn't guaranteed, it wasn't inevitable. It was, in many ways, a profound stroke of luck in this vast ancient lottery.
Definitely.
And wonder, because we get these glimpses through fossils of the sheer vast creative potential that lies within the universe itself.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, the Cambrian was maybe a quiet revolution that utterly reshaped the planet.
Quiet but fast, geologically speaking.
Right. Life inventing pretty much every major animal body plan in less than 30 million years.
An incredible burst.
Yeah.
And that pattern, rapid adaptive radiation, when new environmental opportunities open up, we've seen it repeated many times in Earth's history, but the Cambrian really set the template.
It established the fundamentals.
Exactly. The fundamental architecture of complex ecosystems. Those intricate food webs, the predator-prey dynamics, the ecosystem engineering. Those are principles that still govern ecology today.
The basic rules of the game.
And you could even argue, maybe poetically, about the first glimmerings of, well, consciousness of stone. Some primitive awareness in the decision-making of a trilobite trying to find food or avoid danger. Hints of the universe awakening to itself through life.
Interesting thought. And the rhythms of those ancient seas, they're still with us.
They beat within us today, definitely. Our own circadian clocks, our body's seasonal adaptations. Their deep origins trace back to life, adapting to planetary rhythms during this period.
Wow.
The Cambrian explosion wasn't just some isolated event way back then. It was the establishment of the fundamental biological and ecological principles that continue to guide evolution now. Every innovation since is really an elaboration, a riff on possibilities first explored in those ancient, bustling seas.
Building on that foundation.
Yeah, exactly. Which means the future.
Oh, slay.
Well, it remains radically open, doesn't it? Full of incredible possibilities. Constrained only by, the basic laws of physics and the sheer creative potential of complex systems like life.
So thinking about everything we've covered, what really stands out to you from this journey back to the Cambrian? Maybe think about those fundamental innovations, symmetry, skeletons, eyes, nervous systems, laid down 541 million years ago, that quite literally make you, listening now, possible today. And then maybe take it a step further. Imagine what new forms of complexity, new kinds of awareness, or new types of interaction might be quietly being pioneered in our world right now, maybe unseen, waiting for their own moment to explode into the future.